Welcome back, everyone. We are here for another episode of Mondays with Micah. I have this lovely couple here, and this is just the second conversation that we've had. I want to introduce you to Dawn and Ryan. And for the last year, yes, we're in our second year here with the Widow Walk, we have been doing these booths downtown on Main Street. And it used to just be the Fall Festival, and in the last few years they added a Spring Fest where they let all the vendors come out and anyone who wants to have a booth. And so that has been a huge growth point for us and a point of contact to meet people along the way. That is where this couple came along, and they started to share a little bit of their resurrection story. So if you remember, if you are faithful watchers, which are basically about 30 to 50 of you right now. We're hoping we're going to get those numbers further up. Last fall, I did resurrection stories almost for the whole month. And I just had to tell them, you may not know this, but we've been in a series called Grief Education. And this is going to be a refreshing reprieve from kind of some of these heavier topics, because we're going to talk about love here today. We're going to talk about loss and love and connection, and I feel like it's going to be a good story, y'all. Just so you know, this is not something they have really done before, and I said that's perfect, because we want the real, we want the raw, we want the true story. And I don't know how many other places are interviewing couples of this nature, and it just makes me happy because it lets me know love still exists in the after story. And I say the life after death story. These are the lives she's living after death. And that can be challenging, right? And so Dawn may be telling more of the story, but Ryan is fully able. I told him, y'all have the floor here. Share as often and banter with each other, and I will intersect as we go along. So without further ado, meet Dawn.
Well, we dated previously, what?
Now, how long were you a widow?
I was a widow about 3 or 4 years before we got back together.
So you knew each other before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We dated before.
Yeah, we've known each other 20 years. I know her whole family.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you high school sweethearts?
No.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
She's a little bit older than what I am,
Okay.
and not it's nothing bad, sweetheart.
No, my mother's older than my father too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's a little bit older than me. She actually went to school with my sister.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So there's history. There's
Yeah.
history. And then, how long were you married before?
With that husband, 3 years.
Okay. Now, was he sick when you met?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you mind sharing a little bit of what his story was?
Well, he got up one morning and he had felt 3 nodules in his neck. They were pea-sized. They were very small,
Okay.
which concerned us.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally went to the doctor.
Yep.
He got biopsied and all that good stuff, and it turned out he had cancer.
What kind of cancer?
Well, it turned out to be metastatic lung cancer,
Okay.
but it started in his lymph nodes.
Wow.
Up here.
Okay.
When they biopsied him, it ended up traveling to his lungs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it stayed.
Right.
So,
And how long from diagnosis until?
about 8 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it was fast,
yes, that does feel fast.
very fast.
Had
Yeah.
you dealt with anyone with cancer before?
No,
Okay.
this was my first time ever.
Okay.
Ever.
And were you his main caregiver?
Yes.
And was he at home for most of it?
He,
Did you do any treatment?
he did go to treatment. He went to radiation. He went to chemotherapy. He did his first round of chemotherapy, graduated from that, which they gave us hope. But he was already a stage 4.
Right.
He started out at a stage 4.
Right.
When he graduated from chemo, they had him come back.
Mm-hmm.
And in his second part of the chemo is when he had passed away.
Mm.
He had did radiation in between the chemo and
Second round.
second round.
Right. But they
and
couldn't
they
catch
couldn't
up with it.
Mm-mm.
Right. And so how were you able to get through that? Did you have other family members that were supporting on his side, your side? Do you have kids?
I had my mom and dad,
Mm-hmm.
who at the time my dad had also been diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So it was double hit.
Wow.
I had my son, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, I really
Kept
didn't
it kind of private.
Yeah, kept it kind of private.
Mhm.
My older sister kind of knew, and which she was an EMT, and
That's helpful.
well, to a certain extent.
Okay.
To a certain extent. He did talk to her more about what his wishes were.
Okay.
I don't think he could have talked to me and dealt with me
Mm-hmm.
with that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he felt comfortable.
Okay. Your father or your son?
My husband.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So he talked to your sister more about your wishes? Okay.
About his wishes.
Okay. Now, why I'm asking these questions is because I think it is a little more common than we think. Did when it comes to having a diagnosis that kind of has an end date, did they give you a year? Did they say they gave you hope? So you really did not know.
Really did not know.
All right, and so you went through the process that they had available, and they weren't able to get ahead of it.
No.
In the meantime, you know, the one fighting is having to really focus on that. But you're telling me that in preparation, let's say worst case scenario, he was having some conversations.
Yeah.
Did you, I guess what I'm trying to get out here is, how did you transition? Did you feel like you had all the information you needed? Who did the bills? How did you get into some of the unraveling of two households working together versus one? Obviously he did less and less as the disease got.
We continued to work up until, I think, like right before he graduated chemo the first time.
Okay.
And then it got to the point where he couldn't.
Okay.
He had decided, look, I can't do it anymore. He was too weak.
Mm-hmm.
And I agreed with her.
Now,
he was too weak.
Did anything like step in? Did hospice step in? Medicaid, Medicare? Were you too young for that?
No, he had Medicaid.
Okay.
He didn't have Medicare.
Okay.
Hospice didn't step in until the day he had actually passed.
Okay.
Okay. We had called hospice in that day.
Okay.
And which, the way hospice was, and my sister being an EMT, hospice turned him over to her
Okay.
for her to be his caregiver at that time. Which I do not agree with.
I was going to say that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I do not agree with that. Hospice should have stayed.
With his wife.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never experienced it personally.
And look, these are why I want to ask these questions, because they're right or wrong. These are the human stories of how it happened, and I feel like I'm in the process of being a reporter and a researcher of how can we do this better? How can we educate people? If you could have done it again, what would you have changed? What do you wish you would have known? None of us are prepared for this.
No.
So I'm not here to try to say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but for the sake of educating others, what are some things that you know now that if you would have known then you would have done different?
Just knowing the steps of cancer.
Okay, can you speak into that?
Being at stage 4 cancer, you really walking into it, you don't know what the stages are.
Right.
Stage 4 to me was okay. It's simple. We can take care of this. Not knowing it was terminal.
Right. And I've heard people have stage
Yes.
4 and somehow they can manage stage 4. Does that make sense? Like, but then there's those that you're saying it is terminal. But did the nurse or doctor ever tell you that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's
Yeah,
just
never.
let's just put the record straight.
Yeah, never told us that. Always gave us hope.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that helpful?
No, no, not at all. In the end, no.
Because it's a false hope.
It's a false hope.
Now, for the sake of caveat, there is people that could, on paper, potentially get a different result.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, then there's people, I guess what I'm trying to assess within my own stories of loss, where there's this weird, I've just experienced this year. I'm not going to go into that. We've done it. Y'all know. But the oncologist was saying there was still hope he died the next day. Okay, so I just want you to know I've also experienced where they said we can do more, and I felt like it was a business.
Yeah. To me, it's a money-making situation.
Thank you.
They still had him scheduled for radiation. They still had him scheduled for chemo.
Wow.
And I had to cancel all of it.
And they were telling my family that the lack of cognitive response was because it was working. The immunotherapy was working. And I didn't believe that. But I'm an in-law, so it's not, I kind of let the family handle that, but I was an observer. And when you're taking something that's going to take 3 weeks to even start working, and they're the weakest you've ever seen them in your entire life, can it respond?
No.
So, here's some interesting things, folks, and I don't want to sit in this for a long time, but there is this very interesting part of life where you're faced with a decision. And we are built to survive. The fight or flight kicks in and says, whatever you can do for us, do it. I have heard some say they were diagnosed and they said, I want my faculties. I'm not going to slow this down. If this is how I'm meant to go out, you gave me a year, and they actually lasted a year, and they went out their way, if you want to say. And the family got more time, in a sense. And in my case, they were diagnosed in March and they were gone in April. So we had a very short time.
Yeah.
And it felt like a freight train, and every day was a new symptom. No one has a handbook for this. You're trying to cross-examine. They are, you're trying to honor their wishes, and they don't fully know, but you're still trying to honor their wish. So if you could have done this again, how do you feel like the medical system could have helped? And this is not to knock the medical system, folks. I'm not on the bandwagon. The medical system, we need them.
Yeah.
But there are times that it just doesn't fit the model.
Yeah.
And so you did not think he was dying when he died.
No.
And then when he's gone, how did you, what do you do? Like, how was that?
Well, he did die at home.
Okay.
Apparently he had talked to my sister, and he had set up with her that when hospice was there, that she would have hospice leave, and that she would take over his care, and that she would administer the last dosage of morphine. And that's how he went out. She gave him the last.
So where
dose.
were you?
She had actually given me Ambien sleeping pills, and had sent me on to bed.
So you didn't get the closure. Wow. That's tough. I can feel the emotion in that myself. Man. These are the hard stories, y'all. That it was her husband, and this is not to expose, or does your sister know you're having this conversation?
She's passed away.
Okay. That simplifies things. So some things.
Yeah, she probably knows, but
Yes, that's okay. That's okay.
She's somewhere else.
We didn't
right
have
now.
to qualify this before it goes live on video.
No.
So you not only had to grieve your husband being gone, you also, let's just speak into one of the 5 stages of grief. I'm not sure if these are the only stages, is anger. How can you grieve when you're angry? Can you grieve when you're angry?
No, not really. I was angry at so many different aspects. The medical field, God in one of them, my sister, hospice, at myself for not staying up that night, and staying there.
But were you exhausted?
Yes. Very exhausted.
Okay? That is part of the human experience, y'all. And one thing I learned, feelings woke up for me after my husband passed, and I didn't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up taking this life coaching course, not certified, but it was called Living Fully Alive from Life Coaches. And they talked about all these emotional terms, which we call emotional intelligence. So there's the medical field, they have medical language.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the language of emotion. And I wasn't privy to it. It wasn't needed to the extent that I needed it after walking through grief, because I all of a sudden felt at a loss for words, didn't know how to express my feelings, but they were heavy. And in that, something that they shared was something I hadn't heard before, which is called clean pain and dirty pain. And how I can dissect that for you is, there is the reality of us walking through loss, and then there's a reality of you attaching with the anger. So you have anger. Anger in itself is neutral, okay? Sadness, anger, abandonment, all these things are neutral. But then when we attach a story to it, or a person to it, or yourself, it can go dirty, meaning there's guilt. That's dirty pain. Shame. That's dirty pain. Let's call self-betrayal. You're blaming yourself. And I walked through all of these things and say, how did I not know better? Why didn't I speak up? And you start to feel a little bit helpless or ashamed of yourself. That's the dirty pain. And it has taken me 8 years. I'm still in the process of it. And with this more recent loss, it ripped the wound back open. Took a few days. And I could feel myself starting to unravel. And for me, I have to go to concerts to get back. And music is my therapy. One of the best ones. And they're happy. You know what I'm saying? They're happy, at least. And I can be in a room feeling happy when I'm not happy. And it helps flush some of it out, even if I'm crying the whole time. I cried this past May from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And the two things that came to the surface that I did not feel when my husband first passed was that he left me. And then the other thing was I wasn't ready. Can you speak into any of that?
As far as not being ready, it was a loss. I mean, financially, I was the only one working in the household. My son, which was not from him, from a previous marriage, we were just there. In fact, I couldn't miss work
Right.
because
The needs.
the needs.
Yes.
The very next day, I had to go return back to work. So
There was no break.
there was no break.
Mm-hmm.
There was no grieving period.
Right. And this is, we're not going to stay on this either, but it's interesting to me that in maternity, you have maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
And some men can now in certain fields get
Get
2 weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah, my son, he just got maternity leave.
Totally.
Yeah, 'cause
Mhm.
he just had him and his wife had their child in South Carolina, and he was I think he got full maternity leave.
Wow.
He got like 6 weeks. Yeah,
So,
but
If-
it's from the company that he works for.
Totally.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no. Thank you. This validates my point, y'all.
Yeah.
We want you did not interrupt, and you're speaking into the point that even the men, and this is part of us evolving in a good way. But what I am learning and uncovering is that the grieving side does not have the same evolve. It has not evolved. And I feel a very strong, I want to pick it, not to that intensity, to advocate for the widow and widower that are slighted. Grief is a very heavy thing, and all these things came so fast. She wasn't ready. She didn't know the medical field fully, maybe. You hadn't really dealt with cancer. Now you got people stepping in, taking over your position that was relinquished. Now everything's moving so fast. You can't make good decisions in exhaustion.
No,
Insomnia can start happening.
it did.
And all of this is because your nervous system is dysregulated. You are now in such a fight or flight that you cannot center yourself because it's happening so fast and you can't keep up with the pace. And I didn't have anxiety until after my husband passed, okay? I now know what it is. This year I've had on the verge of panic attacks. And I started to get panicked to the point of attack. It did not fully attack, but it took me an hour to get my breathing back right. Had to call people to talk me down. I didn't know this language before. And so this is compounding the grief is what I'm trying to communicate. Whether you even know this or not, you did not have the time to even process it because the pace of life is so fast now. And guess what? Everyone else gets to go back to work.
Yeah.
And their lives continue on as they know it. Yes, they're missing your husband too, but their daily life is the same.
Yeah, their daily life's not interrupted by anything.
Her life ended, and she has to continue on like nothing happened. Can you speak into how it's not right, is what I'm trying to tell you.
It's not. There's really no financial support system. There's no, I mean.
So how old were you when this happened?
Gosh, in my late 30s,
You
early
were
40s.
okay. All right. So, as you were aware, and I didn't know this, you get no government
No.
until you're how old? 60 some.
60,
60,
62, 63,
65,
something, 65.
65.
So if you don't know this, folks, and this is not going to be the last time you hear me talk about this because this is something else that's fired me up. She had 2 incomes, and you went down to 1 overnight. Overnight. And the government does not, and this is not a knock, but again, there is a lack of understanding about this sector of life. Death is inevitable, okay? Every one of us is going to face it. someone in our family or whatever. But for a widow, I was 36. So if I didn't have young kids, I would have received no benefit.
Yeah.
That gave me leverage because I was able to have some compensation to be home with the kids and not have to go straight back. I'm a real estate agent by trade, so that's a more flexible business anyway. But guess what? It doesn't always pay.
No.
And so there was a little cushion with that. But I have talked to other widows that basically have informed to me that they don't receive their Social Security if they remarry.
He had no Social Security. There was no benefits. There was nothing. I received nothing. I didn't qualify for food stamps.
Right?
I didn't qualify.
You made
for
too
that.
much.
Yeah, I made too much.
But not enough
But not enough. But he still had nothing
to give.
to give.
And that's because of your age or because of his work? Both.
Because of his work.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there are some things that we are not really, it's not brought to our attention until we realize, daggone, like,
Yeah.
was that even a conversation you had?
No.
Right.
It was more of a surprise.
Another surprise. Okay, so these aren't good surprises, y'all.
No.
And it makes you not, I'm skittish of surprises. Like, you know, what's the next thing that's going to
Yeah.
drop? Like, you're bracing for what's next. You know, like, you're edgy. Do you understand? Did that happen to you? You're kind of skittish about things?
Yeah. Well, I also had to pay out of pocket for his
Funeral.
cremation.
Right.
So his family did not step in or anything. But yet they
Had opinions along the way and after?
no, they wanted his ashes.
Okay.
They had a memorial service for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was not invited. I was not told when it was, how I'd get there, or anything. It was more or less, okay, we're gonna have this. You're not part of it.
Wow.
So
So that's a double whammy, triple. I don't know how many hits she had to take.
yeah.
And, you know, I do believe, and I mean, how did that feel like a whiplash? I mean, how
Yes.
can you articulate the emotional hits of this?
It was rough because I also worked with his sister-in-law who went to the memorial service and brought back flowers and decided, we're going to give them to you at work.
Can't write this stuff. I knew it was going to be a good story.
Yeah.
This now, in let's see, when we read what's the fiction, we like these kind of stories because they're interesting. You don't know what to expect. It's a page turn.
Yeah.
But when it happens in real life, this is an autobiography story. It doesn't feel as entertaining. And these stories are not to entertain you, y'all. These stories are to let you know the complexities of walking through grief and how it is not easy to have a smile on your face when not only are you at a loss, you're at a loss for words, you're at a loss physically, you're at a loss financially. The family did not rally, and you had no idea that any of that was going to happen.
No.
Wow. Jeez.
When I was still married to him, they welcomed me with open arms.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, after he passed,
After he passed, she was blindsided by it.
Wow.
I'm just going to cut you off from my life because
didn't
it's
matter.
almost like she was welcome in the family as long as
He was
still
there.
married.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, had he not passed
Died.
away, I like using the phrase passed away. I don't like the word that. That's just vulgar to me, but that's my opinion.
Thank you. This is good language.
Yeah. But my if had he like not passed away,
Yes.
she's like, hey, everything's fine, everything's good, hey, okay, come and sit at the dinner table. But
Wow.
but when he passed, it's like skirt.
Wow.
Get away, you're like the plague now.
Yeah.
Man.
At least that's what I've been told.
Okay?
I never had the pleasure of meeting him. I've heard about him quite
Yeah.
a few times.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never had the pleasure of meeting him.
And let me just let y'all, we're going to let him speak here, but I just knew there was more to the story. And I thank you for your bravery, for your honesty. This is a warrior, folks. She said, well, how did you do it? How do you keep going?
You have to.
That's it.
You have to.
You got to face the future. You have to
Yeah.
wake up and face yourself. And did any of it feel fun?
No, not when you immediately have to go back to work the very next day after he has.
I am so thankful you're bringing this up because again, it's exposing the lack of care in our work, in our insurance system. These are things. I'm building a case, okay? I'm building a case that will one day. Me and the other board member had talked about this. She brought it up, and I'm like, I will go with you to our state, to the representatives, and start to pursue overturning some bills. Because there are some things that they need to hear a first-hand account of who and how many widows and widowers it's affecting. It's affecting your health.
Yes.
It's affecting your mental health.
Yes.
It's affecting your financial security and safety.
Mm-hmm.
These are all things because of that one bill to say because I read the statistics, only 2% are a widow under 50.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that statistic's accurate anymore, to be honest, but that's the report. So, but even so, if they're over 50 and you can't even get any of that until 60, 62, there's 12 years that they've got to hustle.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things, mine was sudden loss, okay?
Mhm.
I found him dead in the shower
Mm.
to an aortic aneurysm. Heart. The widowmaker, they call it. They said we couldn't have saved him even if he was in the hospital. And guess what? I was tired the night before. We'd had a whole weekend of events. And I don't know where he was, but you know how you get so tired, you're almost blacked out kind of?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We went to bed late. The last memory I have is of him coming in the room and said, my chest is hurting, will you pray for me? That was it. And then when I woke up, my daughter said, the shower's been running a long time.
Mm.
That's a hard day, y'all. That was a hard day. And he was gone before anybody got here. And so that played with my mind for some time.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the enemy was able to work with me is that you didn't care. You just went back to sleep.
How could you go back to sleep with something like that? That's
In the moment of him saying, my chest hurts, I was so tired I went back to sleep.
yeah.
And so after the fact, back to the dirty pain to say, how could you have gone back to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Well, people have heartburn. People have, acid reflux. People have all these stomach, chest issues.
Mm-hmm.
People can pull a muscle. I
Your
sense
gallbladder issue.
all these things can mask, and you're like, it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know better. We can't do better.
Yeah.
And I did find out there were other people who asked him to go, and he never went. So it took some time for me to release the guilt over myself that I could have saved him.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually there is sometimes human will and error, or maybe it was this time, okay? So all these things, back to she said she was mad at God. What are you doing with that part of the story? If you don't mind speaking about it.
She reads the Bible every day.
I do read my Bible every day. I just kind of prayed through it. And I still do. I still have issues with it.
And what is the issue? Because these are thoughts that, as I said, I'm unraveling this onion because there's more commonality in this than people really want to share. Because these are parts of the story that aren't fun to talk about, brings the room down, and I care enough to ask. Because the more we know, the more we grow, the more we're going to ask better questions for the grieving widows and widowers in our community and not be afraid of what they say on the other side. And so I have a very different, maybe we're not going to speak into it, but I'm not going to speak in behalf of God here. But there's not one widow and widower that I know that wasn't angry at God. And so to not bring him into it, to me, is missing a part of the story. So were you mad that he put you here? Were you mad that he took him? Were you mad at everyone else and want to blame God? And like, how do you break that down?
Well, to begin with, I was mad at him because, number one, he didn't, and this is going back to the medical field.
Okay.
He did not give them the opportunity to, well, he did give them the opportunity. They just did not proceed with it to explain the steps of cancer.
You were mad at God about that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Of what he was going to go through.
Okay.
And then to see it firsthand.
Right.
It really got rough.
Yeah.
Something as serious as that nature, you should sit down and explain the pattern, the pattern of how it's going to go.
Yeah.
How it could go.
Right. And what I'm hearing from this is the medical system has a bunch of gaps.
Yes.
In their process and their approach.
Yes.
And there's red tape. We're not even going to talk about one of my closest girlfriends. We met when we were 5. 4 years later, her husband died of COVID. You know, they both got COVID, okay? She wasn't allowed in. She had to make a decision whether to intubate her husband from an iPad.
No, I don't agree with that.
And they would not let her in 3 days later when they took it off. She was outside the glass. These are parts of the inhumane. That's inhumane. And the amount of nurses that are still walking through the PTSD of that, where they're in ICU and want to do for the patient, and because of the paperwork and the legalities, their hands were tied. And it brought so much trauma to the patients, to the loved ones, to the nurses, every side. And I think it brought some things to light. And, you know, like they didn't get a choice otherwise.
Yeah.
And that was in 3 weeks. He was fine. He was gone. And that was hard. That was a hard hit. She was 39. And so to be 2 40-year-old best friends become widows, I don't know the likes of it. I said, this is odd. This is interesting. Both two, I mean, almost identical, completely different stories. He was COVID conscious. He had some lung issues, and he got the COVID lung. It took him out. And he was in his 40s, 42. But he'd been suffering from breathing issues and different things from a child. So all I'm saying is another suddenly was not fully prepared, had to make heavy decisions, life and death decisions without a handbook, sometimes without many people holding your hand,
Yeah.
there was not a lot of, was there, I mean, what do you say about comfort in this? How can you comfort people in the midst of something like this? Would you have liked people to come in?
Well, he did have a preacher come in.
Okay,
So that part was
good.
good. My parents, because we lived side by side,
Mm-hmm.
they were there.
Mm.
However, my sister
Yes, that's the problem here.
was the problem.
Yeah, and they didn't override her.
No, they didn't override her.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of made it worse.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
To where you look at people differently,
Yeah,
especially your family.
yep. Big time, big time.
For me, for hospice to do what they did and release him to her, even though she was an EMT, to me that was wrong. They just handed her everything.
I mean, I never heard of such, but I am not happy to hear it. But it continues to build the case.
Yeah.
So in this case, I'm thankful to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has taken us 41 minutes to unpack some of this. And we haven't even gotten to the good part of the story, okay? But so once that happened, you had to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
You had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Did anybody come to your aid in the figuring of it out?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So why does that matter? This lady did it, folks. Okay. This is what I need you to know. Whether she felt like she was doing it right or what she was doing, she crushed it and choosing to still live. And she said, well, I had no other choice. Okay. That is, and people have said to me, I don't think I could have done what you did. Until you have to.
You don't know if you
You
can.
don't know if you can.
You don't, I don't really know if you're even given the capacity. And I've told other widows, you're at your smartest, you're at a season of learning where the learning is going to come faster.
Yeah.
Like it's an escalated training. You're in a boot camp that you didn't sign up for, but you're able to absorb information faster. Did you find that out to be somewhat true?
Yes.
Okay, so whether you know this or not, if you were not the one to do the finances, to do the yard, to do some of these everyday household tasks, and maybe you had people doing your yard, but then, or whatever, I doubt you did not have that.
No.
Okay, so she all of a sudden had to figure out how to work a full-time job and manage a household. I'm not going to get into whether she felt that she managed everything well. I'm not going to ask how often she washed her dishes. I'm not going to ask, did you have pets?
Yes.
Okay, so and you probably did well taking care of your
Yes.
pets. Okay, so she's taking care of the living. Did you put yourself first or last?
Last.
How did that work out?
A lot of mental issues. A lot of therapy. Which I'm still in therapy.
Good.
Along with other issues that have arisen from
Bubbled up.
Yeah,
Yep,
prior.
Yep, prior. Yep.
Previous endeavors spilled
Yeah.
over
Yep. Okay.
and
So.
somewhat coincide.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say this, that when you walk through grief, if you have some things that maybe you have some concerns, maybe you have some other problematic situations, somehow they're still kind of under the surface and you're able to kind of keep them at bay.
Mm-hmm.
But when grief hits, it blows it all up.
Yes.
So whatever was those things, and I think COVID happened, there's been more anxiety, there's been a lot more of this. It's all been under the surface. It wasn't new. But somehow, because of that time, whatever was under came up. And so the mental health is a crisis in our country and beyond, because we were somehow managing it, but it wasn't really thriving, I don't think, for most of us. And then we could not manage it. It got bigger than us because of the environment and the circumstances that was out of our control. That now all of the things that maybe you like, all the fears became a reality.
Yeah.
And if that became a reality, what other fear could become a reality? What's next?
Yeah.
And who's next? Am I next? And so then you can't control it all. And then your brain can't stop because it's trying to save you. But what I learned is our brain can be a liar. It's lying to us. And I've felt that actually more through the cancer part of my story than in the death part of the story. I have had to tell myself I'm well, but the probability of reoccurrence is a term in the medical industry.
Yeah.
And with certain types of cancers, they aren't what kill you, but they're the root that gets to something else later that kills you. I'm too young to be killed in this regard. And so I've had to learn how to speak over myself life words to keep living. And if you've seen any of those little videos on YouTube about a plant, and they talk negative to one plant, they talk positive to the other plant, only one survived. Guess what? We're also a plant. We're made of matter. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We turn into ashes. We turn back into dust. We need people encouraging us and speaking into our lives. And guess what? Not only did this happen, everyone has an opinion about how you grieve after the fact.
Everybody has a different way of grieving. I threw myself back into work. I had
Was that
to.
your saving grace? Not fully?
Not fully.
Okay.
Because I made some terrible choices.
Okay.
About a year and a half later, I got remarried.
Well, I hope that wasn't a terrible choice.
Yes, it was.
Oh, so okay.
I was
Yeah.
not around for that.
Okay. So we're gonna continue. So you didn't like being alone?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Um,
And someone came into your life that said, "I'll fix everything."
yeah. I had known him previous, went to school with him, had dated him previously, and
Not me, by the way.
No, not
She
him.
must be a hot ticket because I had no man tell me this personally. So hey. Okay, continue. It's not about me, but I'm like, wow, someone said they want to take care of you? That's
Yeah.
nice.
I even put her on my insurance. That don't say nothing about love. I don't
Wow.
think it does.
In this day and time, that's a huge
Yeah.
continue.
He the reason why he married me was because he thought he was going to get the inheritance from my husband that passed, as well as in that time my father had passed from cancer, and he thought he was going to get the inheritance from him.
Oh.
So there was two reasons, and
You didn't know that.
I didn't know that not until red flags started coming up.
Okay.
When those red flags come up, pay attention to them. Pay attention to them.
That's your instinct.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a carnival.
No, it's not a carnival.
It's not a carnival. Thank you. That might be a tagline. It's not a carnival.
Yeah, it's not a carnival. You
So
heard it. I said it.
once you figured that out, did you serve him papers?
Well, there was other circumstances that come up. I did find out that he was cheating on me.
Probable cause.
Yeah,
Okay.
probable cause.
Mhm.
So, yes, it was more so I had moved into another bedroom. I had separated myself from him. And then it got to the point where I couldn't deal with it anymore, him in my house. And I told him he had to leave.
Yeah.
And I told him I was not paying for the divorce. No, you want a divorce? You cheated. You pay for it.
That's right.
He paid for it. He did come to court with the woman that he cheated. Yeah.
Lovely.
A couple weeks later, they married.
Of course they did.
Yeah. So I kind of,
I'm laughing
This
because
book is so good. I can't wait for the next page.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have met this. I know who her ex-husband
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
I know who he is. My sister dated his brother years ago when I was a kid. Unfortunately, so I know how.
Yeah.
I know how.
Things were he had more history. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know. I know how uneducated that side of the family
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
To put it in a nice
Yes,
perspective.
that is a very nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna try to keep the language, G-rated
G-rated.
here, but we all got some things we could say.
Yeah.
All right. So, this happened pretty shortly after, and that takes a year or not 6 months.
Not really.
Okay.
We had agreed on a separation date.
Excellent.
I'd say within 6 months we were divorced.
Okay. So. Watch that, and
Watch
then
that.
and so then what? I mean, where
Um,
were you at emotionally, financially?
I was in a better state.
I felt I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this lady's she's using her voice. Things are rising up.
Yeah.
When you've been through some tough and you survive it, you ain't
Yeah.
playing around
No.
the second time around.
No.
One thing I've learned in the past 20 years I've known her, when she speaks, people listen.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the good part of the story. I'm already. I can't wait. I need my popcorn. So what happened after that?
I continued to kind of pretty much work.
Yep.
I ended up moving to a different job,
Mhm.
a better job.
Excellent.
I became a manager at that job.
Excellent.
And the whole while, we were still best friends. We were still talking.
Just a man in the wings.
Yeah, he had gotten married as well.
In the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I was married.
Uh huh.
She's my third wife.
Okay.
So
He's my fourth husband.
All right. Well, 7 together. I don't. So you've lived and learned.
Lived and
Yeah.
learned.
And what would make you both feel confident that if you've had 4, she's had 3, or 2 before and 3 before, why do you think you can make this work?
Well, I think I can make it work.
Yeah.
I've known her 20 years and we don't argue.
No, we don't argue.
So what can you? So who pursued who?
Nobody really pursued anybody.
Ooh, okay. I gotta get into the good.
I'll be honest with you. It was around September, around her birthday. She was seeing someone at the time. I was freshly off a breakup, for whatever reason. I was living in Richmond, Virginia, and she was living where we live at now. And I guess they went to the beach, and she posted something on Facebook. She said, and took a picture of the beach. Said, "Hey, this is my happy place." And
You got a beach in the background right here.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yep.
And I saw it because I hadn't seen anything posted for a while, and I commented on there. I'm like, I prefer the mountains a lot better.
Okay, a little banter.
So she commented back. She was like, she's like, well, I've never been there. Maybe me and my boyfriend and you and your girlfriend we'll do like a couples thing and do like a couples retreat.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, that won't be happening because I'm not a third wheel. And I don't know how happy your household is, and I'm not going to infringe on it.
Okay.
So yeah, you can go to the mountains with you and your boyfriend or significant other. I will stay doing what I'm doing and continue to do what I do.
I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Then what happened?
I guess things.
It got flushed out. Neither one of y'all had anybody.
Well, I had to get rid of him. The guy that I was seeing, he was a little off.
Okay.
Off.
Yes, off.
Off. Okay. I like that terminology. Okay.
Things did not click
Mm-hmm.
in his mind, and
Yeah,
he did not
so-
catch on to things.
So maybe some people on the spectrum, but we're undiagnosed, most of us.
Yeah.
So regardless, she wised up.
Undiagnosed.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Wow. I'm
Um,
gonna start using that.
you should. You should. We're all undiagnosed in
Yeah.
one form or fashion, and on some level of spectrum. It's just how far. But anyway, I digress on that terminology. So some engagement started happening,
Yeah, I
and then you met up somewhere.
Yeah, I showed up. I was down visiting my mom and stuff because she lives in Franklin here, out in Southampton County.
Mhm.
So I was over there, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be down in the area this weekend.
Platonic.
Why don't we get together and go have lunch or something
Yeah.
like that? Something just hey,
Mhm.
get back in touch and whatever." And sure enough, I went over there and we went in the house and sat there. I was actually terrified of your chihuahuas because they wouldn't let me leave. One stood in front of me barking, and the other one just stood there. But hey, this is a strange person in my house, so
Mhm.
I'm not gonna
Be
let
on
you.
there. You were on watch.
Yeah, I was on watch.
Mhm.
I was the stranger in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mix. But
And so y'all talked for a long time.
yeah, we talked for a few hours, and I unfortunately I had to go back. And
Mhm.
check on Mom, and then go back to Richmond
Mhm.
the next day. So and we just kept in touch.
Mm. So this was a little more organic. That's what I call it,
Yeah.
like where it's not forced. There's an ease to it.
Mhm. It makes it a lot easier
yeah.
because we actually knew one another.
Yes, so
From-
you didn't
from
have to get into
previous
all
years.
the history and dump all the baggage.
No.
There was that you just got to skip that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so when did y'all get married? Or do
Yeah.
you want to tell how you proposed?
Well,
how-
you want to step back to before we started dating, before we decided to start dating that weekend at the beach.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I actually, I was in not a horrific car crash, but
Pretty serious.
it wasn't pretty serious, but it messed with my head a lot.
Okay.
I'm a CDO driver. I've been driving for 20 years, and it was my first accident.
Okay. Okay.
It kind of messed with my head a little
Yep.
bit because I felt like I should have been better prepared.
Yep.
And I was in turn better prepared. I was more prepared than most. But like I said, with that kind of psyche, it messes with you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the fence about stuff. I was like, you know what? I need to get away. I need to clear my head and get away.
Okay.
And I messaged her. I'm like, well, hey, I'm going to the beach this weekend. You want to come?
Okay.
So like I said, it's completely up to her.
Yeah.
Whether you want to come, yeah. If you don't want to come,
Yeah.
that's cool too. I'm still going. I don't
Yeah.
care. So I went. So yeah, she said, yeah, I'll come to the beach with you. I'm like, all right, cool. So we went down to Nag's Head. I got a room, separate beds, of course, because I like to be
Gentleman.
I like to be respectful.
Pacing the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm respectful to a point. And but yeah, we went down there and had a good time.
Right.
And,
Amazing.
Yeah, we went down there, had a good time, and came on back. And
Well, back up. You never tried anything.
no, I didn't try.
Never tried anything.
Thank you.
I didn't try anything because it was not my.
time.
It was not my agenda to. I didn't
Get in her pants, basically.
Yeah, I
Right.
didn't. Well, the thing is, I didn't go down, and I've said this openly to her and around everybody else, so it doesn't matter. I didn't go down there for
That.
her. Or,
Thank you.
so to speak. I went
Yeah.
down there
For yourself.
I went down there for
Clear your head.
my
Mental
sanity.
health. Thank you.
It's just nice to have somebody there.
Yeah,
that
companionship. Yes.
You enjoy being around, and every time we get around, every time we go off and go somewhere, we always call it we're getting into some kind of shenanigans. So we're always getting into something.
Yeah.
But not in a positive way. Like they find adventure, y'all get
Yeah.
out, and
Oh, yeah, we
adventure
find-
finds you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you love it, and you enjoy it, and you
Yeah.
know. There's another couple I sold their house for, and they kind of did all these Airbnb things on the weekends, and a little bit similar is what they would say too. And I was just happy to hear that because it feels like when life starts to really get to you, you can lose your zeal for life.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it starts to get pretty gray, and you're just kind of going through the motions and numb emotionally. And so to hear them say they got into shenanigans, that's not someone numb, in my opinion. You're laughing, you're enjoying life. Okay, so these things happened, and so then when did you confirm that, like, I want to make this official?
Well, prior to this portion of our life or whatever, I had actually bought a ring beforehand, and that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
So You know, I don't know. I can't speak on everybody else. I can speak for myself. But when you know something's right, it has. You just got to keep it.
That's it.
And I've told her that on God knows how many occasions, plenty of occasions.
Now, I'm going to bring God into this because as much you can say you screwed up in your life.
Yes.
I'm not speaking that over you. But if you want to say
We did.
you've been through some things,
I've been through some
you've
stuff.
been through
Everybody's
these
been through
relationships. By the end of it, you may not feel you're as equipped as you thought you were.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn, and you're different people now. So who you were 20 years ago may have not been as compatible as you are now. So
Right.
all of life's experience, failures, successes, heartbreak, betrayal, affair, all these other terms we want to use,
Yeah.
created the people they are today. Grew you into the version that you are today to be able to love each other at a level. I'm not going to put words in your mouth because I want to know, do you feel the most comfortable and safe with him of any man?
Yes.
What about you?
I
With
feel
her.
I feel comfortable with
With
myself.
any, but I'm saying with her,
Or with her.
do you feel
yeah.
more centered?
I'm at peace.
Wow. That,
I'm at peace.
and that's and when
And-
you've been through that many, there's
What?
got to be some arguments when people are getting divorced, and some of those things.
My thing is this. You know, I don't believe in ultimatums. I don't believe in. I don't believe in that. You know, like, hey, you're either going to do this or do that.
Right.
I don't care about that. That's not my thing. I don't give her ultimatums. Like, hey,
Excellent.
you're either going to do this or you're going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
That's
I'm not
kind
that
of
kind
you.
of a person.
Very kind.
I'm not that kind of.
And
a
you know
person.
what he thinks. Yes. And
Yeah.
is that
All the time.
helpful?
Yeah.
We can pretty much we can finish each other's sentences before we even start speaking.
That's good. That's good
Yeah.
nonverbal communication. That simplifies a lot of things, right?
It does simplify a lot of stuff
Well, we still can't make decisions
on where to eat.
on on certain things. We have to flip a coin.
Yeah.
That's
Because
actually
you're both laid back about
Yeah,
it.
you were laid back.
that's actually 90%. We're really 90% of what we do now.
Yeah,
flipping coins.
Flip the
Of
coin.
how, of how we matter of fact, that was incorporated in our wedding.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually have a coin at the house. We narrow it down to 2 decisions. Like, all right, coin flip.
And these are the fun, unique parts of this. And I hope you can feel this like ease. There's an ease. And I'm telling you, grief is not easy. There's not ease with grief. How were you able? I know for myself, I'm like, Lord, you know, because we were younger, it's like, what caliber of a person can take on this level of baggage? That's not a good, I don't like the term, but I felt the same. Like,
Yeah.
there's baggage now, there's history, there's a mess behind here. And thank the Lord, my memory's not that great. Most of it's kind of been washing away. And I said, I don't need those files anymore. And he said, I don't need them. So they're like, are you sure your brain's okay? I said, if it's not important and I don't remember, it's okay to be
It's okay,
gone.
yeah.
So you were willing to take it on, and she didn't have to give it all to you because you kind of knew her from afar and kind of knew the situation.
I knew that she was married. She was married one time before. I didn't know about the other 2 previous, but that was later brought to my attention. And like I said, my theory is, you know, I don't focus on your past. I work on the present to
Yes.
look forward towards the future.
This is good. I feel like they had good vows too. I feel like they did.
I wanted to actually write my own vows, but that was vetoed.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, I would have approved it, but that's okay. I didn't know you then to encourage, because you can write them anytime you want. When
My vows that I'm a very simple person, but the complexity of my mind works a different way than most people.
well, there's many people I know say they're a better writer than they are speaker. Like it's more eloquent, or they somehow can get things out. So how has this changed you from this?
She smiles a lot more.
I was gonna say she does.
Yeah. I smile a lot more. I'm a lot more grounded.
I keep her on her toes.
Yeah,
That's
I feel safer.
Thank you.
I have that stability.
yes.
And I was just telling him yesterday that I feel safe with him.
Yes.
I feel comfortable. And I did not feel that way after my husband passed.
Wow.
You know.
So you're healing her, okay?
I'm trying to.
And it's
And-
just
and-
in who you are.
In the process of helping her heal, I'm actually healing myself. She's helping me heal.
These things, I'm not going to get emotional by it, but I could let myself, because this is the beauty
Oh, it's okay.
of
Go ahead and cry,
our, this
baby.
is the beauty of our humanity, is that the most broken parts of ourselves can end up being the healing balm for his story and his story for her. When we can discount ourselves and say, I'm not deserving of love anymore. Obviously, I don't even know what I'm doing. Or whatever the brain plays tricks to disqualify you from living again, or feeling that you deserve to love again, or some kind of ick that can happen. But thankfully, the beach
Yeah.
sent such an energetic response, which the beach does. It conjures up. I mean, there's never a time when I post a picture of the beach that somebody doesn't make a comment. And so these pictures that we love can draw attention and bring calmness to other people if they're sitting at home feeling sick, and then they see they're living vicariously through other people with those videos. I posted one last week with dolphins going through. And so what would you say to those others that may be feeling alone or lonely, don't really know how to navigate getting back into the dating game in the latter years of their life? Can you speak into any of that to encourage the listener?
Every story is different. Everybody's different. Me, I'm very to myself. Put yourself out there, but
Take a chance.
yeah, take a chance, but guard yourself.
Yes.
Take a chance, but be understanding of who you are.
That's good.
What I've done in the past, I've sat down and made a list, like write it
Yes.
on a piece of paper.
Yes.
What I'm willing to accept, what I'm not willing
That's
to accept.
good.
And usually, you look for these qualities in a person. You know what I mean? I don't understand the whole I'm gonna do this, I don't get that part. I don't get that. I believe in conversation.
Yes,
I believe in
eye contact.
face-to-face conversation.
That's good.
Whenever I'm conducting business of some sort, I don't like to do it over a phone. I prefer to do it in person, so I can actually read this person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can read people pretty well and know if I want to be around this person or I don't want to be around this
That's
person.
good.
If I do want to be around you, oh yeah, I'm all smiles and hey, how you doing? That's so great. If I don't want to be around you, I'm like, oh.
Yep, this
And
is
I'm
good.
the same way.
That's good.
I'm the same way.
That's good. So,
I catch it a lot faster than what she does.
hey,
Living in Richmond for 5 years, it's a melting pot so much, so to speak. You catch a lot of stuff a lot faster. And I think with me moving back home, I was gonna move back home regardless if I whether or not was going on. up there.
right. For family and your mom and different things. So,
Yeah.
this is bravery, y'all. This is a story of bravery, a story to never give up.
No.
And sometimes another couple, they got divorced, but they knew each other in high school, and they met, and it was just kind of not the storyline's not the same, but your energy and the ease is very similar. And they're like, our family comes first, this and this and this. They said we didn't have to get into all the other things, and they're a blended family. They both had one child, and they loved each other's children the same, and they're now having babies. And so
We're not having babies.
I'm not saying they are, but their kids are having babies. They're becoming grandparents. So they were parenting their kids blended, and now it's come to the point that they have their first grandchild. And
Second.
you have your second.
First, his first, but
Ours together. Her first, my first, ours together too.
Okay, so you're in this marriage, you became grandparents.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so again, that's another new. So the cool thing is that through life, to me, it can feel like you've been there, you've done that.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, they're doing things for the first time together. There's newness, there's experiences in life that are firsts. And that is, to me, the beauty of it is you can feel like, if you're in your 40s or people even 50s and 60s are like, how can we, it's going to feel like I'm replacing somebody, or I don't know. And what about your son with all of this?
He's fine with it.
Awesome.
He's more accepting of him than
yes.
the
Previous. Yeah, as he should be.
yeah.
And what about with you?
What
You had a
about-
previous child.
Yeah, I do have a previous child.
Are they
Well,
okay with this
yeah,
marriage?
yeah. He loves her to death.
Awesome.
Yeah, his wife, him and his wife, they get along with her.
Better.
They get along with her real good. The one
So
thing,
she's-
the one thing that I will say is that my son's wife and her have the same. What's the word? What's the terminology I'm looking for here? I don't want to say hatred, but that's just
Dislike.
Yeah. That's there you go.
Dislike.
They have the same dislike for my son's mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a mutuality in certain things as you work through it, and so they have a new kind of family.
Oh, yeah.
And is there any other thoughts you have? I mean, we've uncovered a lot here today. We are an hour and 14 minutes in. You probably never thought you would have that much to say, but these stories are so good. I can't rush it through. I don't want to read the first page. You know, people say I read the last page and then decide if I want to read the book. I needed to kind of get through a few chapters, and these are the Cliff Note versions here. So, you know, and some of us don't want to read the whole book. We do just want to take the Cliff Note so we can pass the test and move on.
Yeah.
So, did you pass the test? This is it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm saying this is it. They're done. They passed whatever test they needed to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got to the right one. And I think sometimes what I say is in previous relationships that these children were to be birthed in the earth. And sometimes the union was really more about the children being birthed in this time in the earth than your love story. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's how I'm able to feel a little bit better about it. That it, instead of saying that was a mistake or that relationship wasn't really meant, but the child came forth. No child is a mistake in my opinion. If they make it here, they were meant to be here. However, it happened. So those children and now these grandchildren were meant to be here now and to get this version of grandparents. That's a beautiful story, y'all. That is an amazing, beautiful story that we can continue to evolve.
My son knows I'm a mess though.
That's good.
He knows he knows I'm foolish. So
Hey,
I don't.
Hey.
I don't play.
I mean, people who aren't a little bit foolish are kind of boring, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, if everybody was the same, it'd be a boring world.
Exactly right.
That's why God made everybody different.
Exactly. And so, however, I just want to end this to say that God loves you enough to bring you together. Whether you give him credit for it or any of those things or how involved you are or how angry you were at him and whatever you said to him or didn't say to him. In my mind, union is one of the greatest gifts that he can give. Connection, belonging, to be feeling seen from the other person, for him to understand you and you to understand him. How many friends do we have and we can talk to them for 20 years and they still don't understand us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To find someone that understands is an amazing gift. An amazing gift.
Just be able to listen.
Thank you.
Find someone that listens.
And it's not to respond, it's to actually know you
Yeah.
and actually likes to hear how you think.
It's like we were talking the other day. I asked her, I'm like, I always want to ask her input on everything because I value what she has to say.
Wow.
I was putting you on the pedestal there, boo boo.
No.
So,
The value of an opinion.
yeah.
The value.
Because I
Have
always,
you had that before?
I always
I'm
ask her.
telling you.
Because I always ask, wherever we go, like go on vacations or plan a vacation or whatever, I always ask her, like, hey, where you want to go? You want to go to the beach? You want to go to the mountains? You want to go B&B? You just want to hang out here at the house? What do you want to do? I'm open for anything. I'm open for suggestions.
We then narrow it down, and there goes that.
Flipping the
There
coin.
goes that
Flip of the
coin
coin.
flip again.
Yeah.
There's value.
It's become an everyday routine.
I love this, y'all. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good story, but this is an amazing story. From the grit, from the hardships, life is worth living. And when you keep putting yourself out there, I've heard it said that we fall forward.
Yeah.
That we're falling forward, meaning we don't really know what we're doing. And I heard an older lady tell me, she's in her 80s, I think. She said, I thought that as I got older that my brain was going to get older with me, but I still feel 28. So her brain didn't age at the same as her body rate.
Right.
And I was like, she's like, I'm still that girl. I'm like, that is a good, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But she's like, I thought it was going to age with me in the interior. I said, well, that may be to your benefit. You know what I'm saying? But I get her sentiment on that not all of us is aging at the same rate. Some's faster than we want it to be. Some maybe not fast enough. And life has a way of, I don't want to say age us, but grow us up into hopefully at some decade in your life you say, man, I don't know how I got here, but I'm thankful that I got here.
Oh, yeah.
We're thankful for life. We're thankful for the beach. You're thankful to get into some shenanigans together. You're thankful to laugh. We're thankful for good food. We're thankful for good seafood. We had a cardinal here at the beginning of this, y'all, and he was like, there's that sentiment that where a cardinal shows up, a loved one is near. It's like saying, hey, we love you. Hello. And I said, why now? Have you seen a bird since we started talking?
No.
Just before we started, this cardinal just sat right there. And I said, hey, my favorite color is red, and my grandmother loved cardinals, and many others do. And so we're going to take that as a nod that today was a love story. There's loved ones. We love you for those watching. If you're interested in knowing more about this, comment below. We need you to share. If you know this couple, we want only positive comments, please. This is a positive, encouraging page, but all that to say, if you know them, share this on Facebook. We want to get more people following us along on these stories. If you know a widow or widower story, a resurrection story of love after loss, I want to know. I want you to come sit in a 90-degree day. I'm having them sweat it out here physically.
I'm actually losing weight sitting here. So
Yes, we are on a high cardio process. He's losing weight. Hopefully he's not losing his mind from it. And we just want to hear more stories like this. This was April and she messaged me now and I said, I needed a story for Monday. What's the last thing about timing? You said she has the timing gift.
She has impeccable timing just with everything that goes on. She says, hey, this here needs to happen. Yeah, you're right. You know what? It does need to happen.
The woman's intuition, some of us call it our gut, but I want to say that your gut has been being healed from all of this because you're starting to trust that intuition and to have someone validate that and speak into it and say you're smart, you're right, and for him to lean into her suspicion, her inclination, intuition, all the words we can use. It's not about being right or wrong here, folks. It's for someone to be able to speak their truth and for someone to say, you're right, and I'm going to follow through with that. This is what this relationship is. I can believe and speak into that there's been this reinforcing, and now she's saying, oh my gosh, what you're saying and your follow through, the consistency of you saying and doing is healing a piece of her heart. And then for her to value his opinion enough for her to listen is healing his heart. And what more do we want out of a relationship but to continue to be heard and to be loved, and to not be rejected when we make mistakes, and to own up to those mistakes, and to say that to each other face to face. He doesn't want to be passive aggressive in a text message to her and say, what you said today, da 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 da, or maybe even call you out in a crowd. That is not who these people are. I can tell you right now. But we know people like that.
I know people like that. I'm one of those people.
He may have been.
No, I still am one of those.
But not with her.
Not with her. Absolutely
So
not with
so
her.
some people need to be called out. But that's dishonoring of sort. But he's honoring. He's deferring her. I don't see it a lot.
I'll save her. I'll save her the
Grief.
Yeah, she doesn't need to see that part of it, but
It's there when it needs to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, somebody dealing with trucks and things like that, you got to have that side to you.
oh yeah, I'm a completely different person at work versus home.
Hey, at least you can separate the two.
You have to be able to flip the switch.
That's right. And they flip that coin. So if that may be a good that's a life hack, y'all. Did you know that?
We should have brought the
You
coin
should
with
have.
us.
They're going to send me a picture of the coin, so we have that as imagery here. That's a life hack. If you're wasting too much time because you're both indecisive about something, because for me, I'm kind of food by feeling. I'm like, do we feel Chinese today or not? Get these coins and find one that works for you and simplify your life.
Yeah.
It can be a simple coin, a penny, a dime, a nickel, quarter.
You know,
We use a we use a $50.
$50.
Yeah, we use a $50.
I've heard people say that they found coins after their loved ones passed. That's not your story.
No, actually, I had visitors. They were actually deer.
Yep.
Yeah,
And they
I
were
do remember that.
they were there constant.
Like the first year or two that I was back in her life and we and her were living together. Yeah, they would actually come out, stand in the yard like in the morning before I would go to work, before she would go to work, and yeah, we'd leave out and going about our business, come back that evening. And
Angels unaware,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually have a picture. I'm not going to post it. But one night, this was last fall, the deer, like 8 of them, were laying down in my front yard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was comforting, to be honest. I felt comfort from these deer laying in my front yard. I had never really seen such. I've seen them in the yard, but to chill out in my yard, it was like 12 o'clock at night. But it was maybe before hunting season, so, they needed to kind of, recharge before they're being chased for their life. But anyway, we're not going to continue this on. Thank you so much. Can you just wave to the people? Thank you guys so much for your honesty in this. I mean, this story just kept getting better and better. I knew it was going to. And this is what courage looks like. Okay? This is what resilience looks like. Courage under fire. Some people say grief is like drinking through a fire hose. It's coming at you so fast. And whether she had to get a life raft, maybe she didn't even have a life raft. Maybe she had to float down figuratively in her life and hit a bank, an embankment. And a couple people pulled her out when she was exhausted and grasping for breath. And she got out. This is all imagery, okay? An allegory here. And she walked back. And she started again, and some other things happened, boop, and she came back down, and she got back off that embankment, and she started walking back, and a new fella came along with the right life raft.
You're welcome.
And that is what life has to offer. That is the keeping going. and to believe that tomorrow has to get better.
Let's get better.
And it did. And it will. And
It can't get any worse.
well, that's one thing to say. Once you get to the bottom, you got to go back up.
Once you hit bottom, it can't get no worse than that. It's only got to go up
You have
from
to
there.
go up.
And I say the suffering has a time clock on it. You
Yeah.
know, suffering will end.
Yeah.
Whether it's in death
Yeah.
or something else. It either ends because that season of grieving kind of closes out for you. I wouldn't say grief ever ends.
No, it doesn't.
And it shows itself in different times of your life. But then you have good people that come along and give you that hug and say, we're going away this weekend. You just need to get away after all this. And you said exactly. And she didn't have to keep stuffing that stuff in. And
I gave her the freedom. I gave her the freedom of expression. It's like that saying that's been going around. We listen and we don't judge.
yes,
Yeah.
I've watched that.
Yeah. I listen. I don't judge.
I'm
I
telling
would
you.
always tell her, judge free zone.
This is exactly, we're going to end on that because it's exactly what I want for the Widow Walk. And I have said this, that when I want you to be able to put it all on the table because there's more commonality with people in the room. And I say the enemy, I'm not going to give him any credit, but we don't want to share the dirt because it feels shameful sometimes. It's embarrassing. It can hurt other people to be honest about parts of your life because other people are involved in it. And in this regard, that's why I asked early on about her sister, but she has passed on. And so she has the liberty to say some things now because there's not the after effect of having to answer to and deal with some of the emotional things that can happen. That's not everyone's luxury after loss. But thank you again. We will see you next week for more grief education. This is both, okay? It's a resurrection story and grief education because she gave us a lot of backstory here, which continues to fuel me to uncover these stories so I have evidence to petition for better care in our medical system, in our government system, in our communities, and get down really into our family systems and then to ourselves. This is multifaceted. I am just getting started, y'all. All these things continue to get me excited to believe for the more that is in store for you and in store for this nonprofit organization. See us again soon. We're going to be together this Saturday, July 19th. You're invited to serve for lunch. We want to get some of our people to socially interact. You don't want to kind of be the one to lead that sometimes. You don't know who to call. Maybe you're uncomfortable with that. We are opening it up. Serve Restaurant, downtown Franklin, from 11 to 1 on Saturday, the 19th. That's this week. You can register if you want to, so we can get a little bit of a head count if you go to thewidowwalk.org. Comment below, share this story. We want to hear from you, and we want to actually talk to you and listen and learn more about your story, because the more we know, the more we grow. Until next time, bye.